Hello and welcome to the third season of my podcast, What's in a Story? The title of this third season is Narratives of Nature and Environment of South Asia. And we begin by wishing all the listeners a very happy new year and loads of warm wishes and regards to you for a prosperous and healthy year ahead. Let's celebrate the year with lots of good stories, and most importantly, let's share the right kind of knowledge, and let's share this knowledge across all of us. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the listeners from across the world who has been avid listeners of this podcast. Right now, this podcast, What's in a Story, reaches across 9 countries, across 4 continents, and this show received 3 awards from Spotify, which was notified to me towards the year end. The first one being, the show was the most shared show, receiving more shares than 97% of other shows of its category. The second one was, the show was an instant hit. The debut season was more popular than 78% of other shows. And the third one was, it was a fan favorite with the average rating higher than 75% of other show, and it was all made possible by you listeners. So thanks a lot for sharing this show and reaching to places, to people I don't even know, and that has been the biggest reward of this show for me. And we begin the third season on a fresh note, and the title of this season 3 is Narratives of Nature and Environment of South Asia. As you know, and that I have been explaining in my earlier podcasts as well, What's in a Story is my podcast where I read the stories from my books as an anthropologist, writer and translator, working with popular culture and heritage of India and South Asia. My stories are from my work with folklore, myths and legends of India and South Asia, and I introduce each story with some additional information from different fields, say of history, from archaeology, from geology and others, which helps to bring a context to the story. However, it is also important to mention that the information should be studied well, that is understood well, within specific socio-cultural, religious or political contexts, and even sometimes a historical context as well. Most of these stories from folklore took shape centuries ago, and over a lengthy period of time, many features and aspects were added to the narrative, thus taking the shape that we have come across in present times. Thus, before taking these stories as historical proof, one should be careful enough to analyze the historical context of the essence of each story. Let's try to take the positive message through these stories as we proceed with Season 3. In Season 3, I would like to extend the message of Season 2, which was the focus of which was water narratives of South Asia. And so, I would like to present Season 3 through stories of nature and environment, and through stories which speaks of preserving and conserving the same, and primarily the various interactions between man and nature. Without the beautiful nature that surrounds us, we will perish sooner or later. And think about it, aren't we already experiencing the grim reality, the pictures of what global warming has really created all around us? Say, rampantly cutting down trees have created havoc across riverbanks and deltas, or the horrific littering of plastic wastes on riverbanks and beaches have only resulted in destroying flora and fauna and choking up so many aquatic lives around us. And the list is practically endless. However, fortunately, many people are also working tirelessly to combat the situation, but it just never seems to be enough. We have already lost a lot of valuable wealth, and it is time to listen to the clarion call, for there is only one earth, and that's all we have. Here's wishing a positive thought is shared through each story of this season, that is, Narratives of Nature and Environment of South Asia. Follows Season 3 of What's in a Story, where I read stories from my books as an anthropologist, writer, and translator, working with popular culture and heritage of India and South Asia. About the story. Why the sun is hot, the wind dry, but the moon is beautiful, and I read this from my book, How the World Was Born, Wondrous Indian Myths and Legends by Aleph Book Company. Often, there are explanations within folklore provided about various features, aspects, characteristics of nature. Say the wind, the force of the wind, the mightiness of the sun, the harshness of the sun, the calm, bright, beautiful aspects of the features of the moon, and so on and so forth. This specific story exactly attempts to describe that. While listening to such stories, it's also important to keep in mind that such stories were framed at times when real scientific reasoning about natural phenomena and their features and characteristics were not well developed as we have at present. And it was the belief and the ideas of man which framed the stories to explain what they saw in front of them. The sun being very, very bright and harsh in summer, the moon more or less being calm throughout the year, very pleasing to the eyes, the wind being very dry and very rough during the summer, humid during the rainy season, so on and so forth. This is a typical example of such a story, and there are numerous stories across the world. This story is specifically from a very old story from the Deccan region. Since the sun, moon, stars, wind, thunder, lightning, etc. are vital parts of nature and surrounding, they are often the protagonists of similar myths and legends which explain the characteristics of these vital aspects of nature around us. This specific story was collected from the erstwhile region of central India. Follows the story Why the sun is hot, the wind dry, but the moon is beautiful, from my book How the World Was Born, Wondrous Indian Myths and Legends by Aleph Book Company. The story. Why the sun is hot, the wind is dry, but the moon is beautiful. This is a story from a very long time ago, when there was no man on earth and the only living beings were the various parts of nature. At such a time, a mother who was living with her children the sun, the moon, and the wind was the distant star that you can see when you look up at the sky. The three children, the sun, the moon, and the wind, one day went out to dine with their uncle and aunt, the thunder and lightning. At home, their mother remained alone, waiting for her children to return. The mother kept waiting and waiting while the children feasted merrily. Both the sun and the wind were extremely greedy and selfish. They enjoyed the feast, and without ever thinking of taking some food to their mother, they started off for home. However, the moon did not forget about her mother. In order for her mother to also enjoy the treat, the moon set aside a small portion beneath one of her beautiful long fingernails for every dish that she served at the large table. At last, it was time to go back home. When they arrived home, they saw that the mother was eagerly waiting. She was delighted to see all her children return home joyfully and thus asked, "Did you all enjoy the feast?" "Yes, mother, it was lovely. We enjoyed all the food that was served. We ate all of it. Uncle Thunder and Aunt Lightning were very happy to see us enjoying the food so much," replied all the children of the distant star. The mother was indeed very happy to hear this. Then, hoping that they brought something for her as well, she finally asked, "So, did any of you bring me back anything from the feast?" Now, the son, who was the eldest, replied in a rather surprised tone, "I did not get anything for you. I went out to enjoy myself with my siblings, not to fetch dinner for my mother." The wind replied next, "Me too. I did not get you anything either. You cannot expect me to get you anything just because I went out to eat." Finally, the moon spoke up now. "No, mother dear, I did not forget about you. Do get me a plate, please." And as the mother got a plate, the moon shook out from her hands the choicest of food that she had collected from the feast. The mother, the distant star, now spoke. She looked at the sun and said, You went out to amuse yourself with your friends and feasted and enjoyed yourself. All the while, you never ever thought about your mother even once. You shall be cursed. From now on, your rays will be forever hot and scorching. They will burn all that they touch. All of mankind will hate you and cover their heads when they appear in front of you. Thus the sun remains hot to this day. The star then turned towards the wind and said, As you too forgot about your mother because of your selfish nature, you too are doomed. You will always blow in the hot, dry weather and shall parch and shrivel all living things. All of mankind will detest and avoid you from this very time. And so, this is the reason the wind is hot and dry during the summer months. Finally, she turned to the moon and said, Dear daughter, Since you remembered your mother and kept a share of the food, you will forever be cool, calm, and bright. No noxious glare will accompany your pristine rays, and all of mankind will always call you blessed. And that is why the light of the moon is so cool and bright and liked by all and every person all over the world to this day.